everyone, and welcome to episode number 68. Yep, episode number 68 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and where I get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, June the 12th, 2021. It's late in the afternoon. Put it this way, I've already had an early supper. So it's getting pretty late in the day. It's an overcast day. We've had probably 2 or 3 days in a row now with off and on a fair bit of rain. It hasn't rained yet today, but it looks like it could come down any time now. So I'm happy to be indoors. I don't have to worry about it. The one advantage is it's not hot. It is a little bit muggy out there, but it's not too bad. So today I have a couple things to show you. The first is the finished object, and the second is a new cast on. So without further ado, let's take a look at my finished object. They're done. They're modified. They are not up to competition specs, but I have a finished object. So these are my Sock Madness 15 round 5 socks. So I've been eliminated from the competition back in round 4, but I'm going to try to complete, to the best of my ability, probably modified with a couple of them, potentially modified versions of all of the socks from the qualifying round through round 1 through to round 7. So that's my goal this year, is to complete all the competition socks for Sock Madness this year. So far, motorcycles. So far I've completed the qualifying round plus rounds 1 through 5. And spoiler alert, I've started round 6. So these are Sweet Rose socks by Atelier Midsummer's Eve. And I knit them according to spec most of the way. The feet I did according to the pattern. The heel I did according to the pattern. It is a padded sweet tomato heel. Then I did a bit of a modification and I just shortened the leg. The leg should have been 2 rounds. There should have been 2 diamond panels. And then the cuff I followed the pattern. The other thing I did that was a little bit different is the pattern called for the embroidery to be done on all 4 of the diamonds times 2. So each sock should have had 8 embroidery pieces. I only did 2 on each sock. Possibly I'll go back after everything is all done with Sock Madness, and I might go back and add the other 2. I found them very fiddly to do, but I was starting to get the hang of them by the time I was on to the 4th one. So I might go back, we'll see. Time permitting, I might go back in a week or 2 once the other rounds are finished, and I might go back and add the 2 other roses on here. So it was a fun pattern. It included a few things that were different for me. It started at the toe. So for me, I don't typically do socks starting at the toe. I typically do my socks from the cuff down. I've only done a sweet tomato heel once before this, and I've never done until now a padded sweet tomato heel. And it's basically the only difference is that the padded does a slip stitch pattern on it. I've never done embroidery like this on a pair of socks. I've done some embroidery, and to be completely honest, embroidery's not my, in general, embroidery's just not my favorite thing. I love counted cross stitch, but I don't really like embroidery. But it also has some beads on it. There's a larger, on mine, a larger pink bead in the center, and then some purpley blue beads around here. Then it includes 6 bullion stitches to make the little rose design, and then lazy daisy. Is it lazy daisy stitch? This is how much I know about embroidery. To do the little leaves on each of them. I used the yarns that I used on the yarns here are ones that I've used before. The green is from the qualifying round pattern. The blue is from one of the designs on, I think, round 3. I think it was round 3. Also used it, both the blue and the green, in round 4. And this is just a bare yarn that was for the rest of the body of the sock. And what else was I going to say about this? I used 2.25 millimeter needles, and it was a fun knit. The design itself was relatively quick to knit, but the embroidery part is what slowed a lot of the competitors down. I had hoped to have this finished before the round 6 sock started. I was actually hoping to get them done within the 10-day window. I did not manage that, but I did manage to finish them before the round 6 pattern was released. So I kind of finished it in that little window between there. When I saw you last week on one of the socks, I had completed one of the wedges on the heel and then did the rest of the way up. On the other sock, I had not yet started the heel wedges. So since last week, I got a fair bit done. Finished both the socks and got the embroidery done. So I'm happy to have these finished and to add them to another pair of socks to go into my sock drawer. Boring, just drinking water now. Late enough in the day, I certainly don't want anything caffeine-y. So I'm just going to call it good with just water for today. The new pattern that I cast on are the Sock Madness round 6 socks. And in round 6 for Sock Madness, the fastest person on each team advances into the final round. So each of the teams after round 5, there were 10 people. After round 5, there was 10 people that advanced on each of the teams. Round 6, it's the fastest person. The fastest one person on each of the 26 teams will advance to round 7, which is the final round. And then we'll have our sock knitting world champion. So I'm really excited to see what the round 6 or round 7 pattern looks like, and I'm really curious to see who wins. This round, the specs came out on Tuesday evening. And since we're getting closer to the end, what they did for this round, typically what they do is they release the specs, which tells us what supplies we need, what yarn we will need for the upcoming round. They will give us that information, and then the pattern will come out anywhere within the next 48 hours. Now that we're getting close to the end, what they did for this past round, or for round 6, was when they released the specs, they also announced that the pattern will be coming out between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time in the US on Thursday. So they gave everyone who is still competing, they gave them a more narrow window so that they could be prepared, because it comes down to one person advances. So they want to make sure that as many people can kind of try to plan their lives as best they can to be ready to start knitting when the pattern comes out. So once the pattern came out on Thursday evening, I had finished as much of the roses on my Sweet Rose socks. I had finished up that early afternoon by about 2 or 3, just before the pattern was supposed to come out. It's between about 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. And I was all set and ready to cast on, hopefully, depending on what the pattern looked like, I was ready to cast on at any time on Thursday late afternoon when the pattern did come out for round 6. And the pattern dropped, and I love it. It's gorgeous. I think it's absolutely a gorgeous pattern. And I'm casting on, or I have cast the pattern on. What happens with this round is the round will continue for 10 days, or the round will be finished as soon as one person completes their socks on all 26 teams. So chances are this round will not last 10 days. I suspect that there will be somebody finished on every single team before 10 days have passed. It might last several days because some of the slower teams might take numerous days to finish it, because it is a time-consuming pattern. Even though as gorgeous as it is, it's still a time-consuming pattern for a lot of people. The pattern has only been out for just barely over 48 hours, and several people have finished already. I do not know how some of these people knit so fast. I honestly would love to be a fly on the wall and sit and watch how fast some of these people can knit. I honestly think they don't sleep, or they sleep very short amount. The first person who finished was done in about, I think it was about 20 hours to knit a complete pair of socks. And these socks are color work socks. I'll show you what I have done so far, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the pattern itself. The pattern is called Madeline, and it is by Kate Poe. Finally, round 6, and there's a name I can pronounce. All the rest of them I've struggled with pronouncing them. Didn't I say last week I wanted something like Jane Smith? I got Kate Poe, so I can say the name. So the pattern is called Madeline. It's a 2-color work design, top down, and it's so pretty. I've been knitting this off and on for 48 hours. That's all I've got done. There are lots of people that are finished. This is what I got. It's so pretty. The pattern is going to have this vine and leaf pattern running all down the sock, from the cuff all the way down to the toe, and the vines are going to continue in the heel as well. The pattern varies. It just kind of meanders all over the place, and it's so pretty. It uses an afterthought heel. So once you get far enough down, you'll do either a provisional cast on or a piece of waste yarn to come back and do the afterthought heel. But the pattern is going to continue onto the heel, and it'll continue on down into the toe. It has a rolled cuff, so you knit a certain number of rounds first, then continued with or started with the colorwork portion. Then after a certain number of rows, you folded it over and seamed it up, and then you'll continue down the leg. There are some fairly long floats in here, so the pattern suggested using a ladder back jacquard technique for managing your floats. I've never done that technique before, and so I gave it a try, and I like it. I really enjoy it. It's giving my color work a lot more give than it normally has. I have hopes that these socks will actually fit, because typically for me, stranded colorwork socks don't fit me. Sweaters, things like that, that's fine. But using stranded colorwork where I'm just catching my floats every so many stitches, I have trouble making sure that everything stays loose enough, or the floats stay loose enough. And so far with this, it's working out okay. I'll just turn it inside out so you can see what little bit that I've got on the ladder back jacquard, and I'm liking it. It was a little bit fiddly to get into the rhythm using it, but I'm really enjoying it now. I'm finding that it's working really nicely. So we shall see how much I get done by next week. And I'm hoping to finish these before the round 7 socks come out. We'll see. The yarn I'm using for this is a bare yarn. Again, seeing a trend here, everyone. And the blue is a yarn I dyed myself. And it's kind of a purpley blue tonal yarn, and I'm really liking the way it's looking on here. It's not a solid, so the leaves and the vines have a little variation in the blue, and I'm really liking the way it's looking. I'm contemplating reversing the colors for the second sock and do blue with the white leaves and vines on it, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if I want to reverse it or continue and have them match. Stay tuned, come back next week. Hopefully I'll have at least the one sock done before next week and see what I've decided. I am leaning towards doing them the same, just because I'm getting into the rhythm with the way the the colors on the charts are shaded in. I have the white squares are the ones I'm knitting in white. The dark squares are in the dark color yarn. It'll be more of a challenge for me to reverse that, to do it the opposite way if I reverse the colors. Typically I do my socks 2 at a time in tandem. I don't really like doing it that way when I might do it, but I don't necessarily like doing it that way when I'm using 2 colors all the way through the sock. And it's just that I have 4 strands coming out of both of the cakes, and I have far more likelihood of getting tangled up that way. So I think I will stick with just doing one sock in its entirety and then coming back and doing the second sock all from beginning to end. We shall see. So I am hoping that I can finish these before the round 7 socks come out, or what I might end up doing is putting these on the back burner and casting on sock number 7, design number 7. We'll see. And sock number 7, the specs call for two colors of yarn and 2 circular needles. So I'm not sure if there's a specific technique that uses 2 circulars at one time on one sock. If there is, let me know. But off the top, I can't think of anything that is specifically like that. We'll find out. We'll find out in about 8 to 10 days, or sooner if everyone's done. If all the teams are set before then. We shall see. But for now, I'm going to continue working on my Madeline socks, and hopefully in the next week I will get a lot done on them. I probably won't have a lot of time tomorrow. Sundays are busy for me. I will have some time in the afternoon and evening, but I might not get as much done on Sunday. Monday I'm back to my online conference stuff again. So during the online conference, I will have a fair bit of time for knitting. And I am hoping to get a goodly amount done on my Madeline socks while I'm watching conference stuff all week. So stay tuned, see how much I get done by next week. In other news, not much. The conference ate up quite a bit of my week, and it will next week, and it will the week after that. Oh, I do have a dentist appointment on Wednesday as well to replace the crown that came out almost a couple weeks ago now. Thank goodness it doesn't hurt. It feels weird, but it's getting fixed on Wednesday afternoon, so that's good. This morning we ventured out to our local farmers market. Got a new bouquet of flowers. They're so pretty. Aren't these gorgeous? They're really, really pretty. So I'm gonna enjoy, they have no smell. I'm going to enjoy admiring these all week coming up. I said they sit just over on a little desk or a cabinet close to my desk, so I get to see them all day. So I get to admire them. What else did we get at the farmer's market? We had breakfast there. There was a little stand that were making sausage, egg, and cheese sandwiches or bunwiches for breakfast. So we had that. And then we went into another another stand that makes homemade donuts. Oh, they're so good. So we had a donut, and then we picked up some fresh lettuce and a fresh garden tomato. So we'll have that for supper tomorrow probably. Hubby's not home tonight, and I just had leftovers for my own supper. So we might have that for supper tomorrow. And what else did we get? That was about all. And a couple cookies for dessert tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably save that for dessert tomorrow. We had donuts this morning. We don't need cookies tonight to go with it. And the little bouquet of flowers. So it was a nice little wander down the street this morning to go and check out the little farmer's market. And then this afternoon I've been just putzing around watching a few things on YouTube and working on my sock. I'm only on starting row 17, and I think there's like 80 rows before you start the heel, or before you put in for the heel flaps. So I've got a long way to go. A long way to go. But once I settle into a rhythm with it, it should move along half decently. Well, we shall see. But otherwise, that's about all. There's not an awful lot else new. Upcoming week, dentist appointment, knitting, and conference time. That's about all. Alrighty, as I say, I can't think of anything else new or exciting. So, one more week with Sock Madness socks that you got to see. And let's see if I can manage to knit all the rounds of Sock Madness socks this year. It'll be the first time I've ever done that. I think this is the most I've ever completed in any Sock Madness year. Even though I'm not competing anymore, I'm still enjoying getting the socks done. So as long as I keep enjoying it, we shall continue with it. Alrighty, I will let you go. Take care, everyone, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye now.